And now that we are talking about this framework and the various parts that it would help us think about, there's also sometimes that you're really passionate about an idea that has a very early on market, or has a very smaller size TAM, let's say, and then you have very less ways of showing your assumptions to be proved and validated. So in those cases, have you found certain signals or ways that would help a creator or a builder try to get more traction in the space that you're building for?
This is a really good question. And I think it highlights both the biggest opportunity and the biggest risk with early stage startups.
Yeah.
And so startups don't have a lot of data to work with. And so a lot of people, especially at larger companies, get used to making data oriented decisions, which is important. And so a key way to understand what customers want is to run experiments and get to statistical significance and use the validations from those experiments to increase your understanding of customers. But that requires lots of data points. And when you're a startup, you just don't have those data points, but you do have a really clear line to customers, and you can have lots of customer conversations. And startups often have an advantage because they have no choice but to talk to customers. At a larger company, you could go months or even years without talking to customers if you're just running experiments and make decisions that way. That's not optimal, but that does often happen. Whereas at a startup, you really have no choice other than to connect with customers. So I like to think about this in terms of, at a large company, when you have a lot of data, a lot of your decision making is based on statistical significance. But at an earlier stage, we can think about another concept, which is informed conviction. So if you have a lot of data points, you can ask yourself, do we have statistical significance, and make decisions based on that? In the earlier stage, you can ask yourself, do I have informed conviction? And can I make a decision based on that? And so that implies two things. One is that you have conviction, that you believe enough in a particular direction that you're willing to put energy behind it. And two, that conviction is informed by conversations that you're having with customers, and that you synthesize those conversations into a particular viewpoint. And so I think really good product teams and really good early stage entrepreneurs try to get that informed conviction by triangulating across three different ways of making decisions. The first one is their own intuition. So being an entrepreneur means that you need to rely on product sense. You need to have a really good intuition of what the market wants. That's not a bad thing. And those intuitive leaps are often the things that generate really disruptive ideas. But that intuition needs to be informed by two, conversations with customers, and so qualitative inputs. And then three, even though you're early, even though you don't have a lot of users, there's still ways to get quantitative underpinning to your findings, whether it's market research or data from app surveys or from other survey companies. And so if you can take a quantitative understanding of the market, your qualitative conversations, and your strong intuition, and put those together, you can synthesize that into informed conviction for a particular direction. And if you're feeling like you don't have that conviction, then that's a good signal that you need one or more of those three inputs in order to get to that next stage where you feel like you can make a decision and move confidently forward.